One STM employee was on her way to her friend's wedding. She was dressed like an ordinary woman. No official car, no security, just riding a motorcycle like any other girl. As she approached the city of Hashtagbat, she saw a police checkpoint ahead. 3 or 4 policemen were standing on the road near the post, and in the center stood Inspector Prasanjit in uniform. He waved his baton and ordered the girl to stop. She pulled off the road and parked her motorcycle to the side. In a harsh voice, the inspector asked, "Where are you going?" The young woman calmly replied, "I'm going to my friend's wedding." Inspector Prasanjit looked her up and down. The woman was 28 years old. Her name was Barnali Singh. Laughing, he said, "Oh, so you're going to eat and drink at your friend's wedding. But your father would have surely worn a helmet. Why didn't you wear one? And you were riding too fast. You'll have to pay a fine." Inspector Prasanjit had already pulled out his penalty book. Barnali realized that the inspector had other intentions. This was only an excuse. She said, "Sir, I didn't break the law. Don't teach us the law, madam," he snapped back. Throwing a glance at a constable nearby, the inspector looked back at Barnali. "We need to teach her a lesson." Suddenly, he slapped Barnali hard across the face. "Too many questions. When the police speak, you must obey silently." Barnali's head spun, but she quickly regained composure. Anger flashed in her eyes. The chief of the post, Inspector Prasanjit, laughed loudly. "Still not calm. I've put many like you in their place quickly. Now you'll get your lesson." One constable stepped forward. "Sir, let's take her to the station. There we'll show her how to talk to the police." One of the constables grabbed Barnali by the arm. "Come on, get in the car." Barnali jerked her arm free. "Don't you dare touch me, or the consequences will be serious." The inspector grew even angrier. "Look at her, so arrogant." Another constable yanked Barnali by her hair and tried to drag her toward the car. Barnali cried out in pain but still did not reveal her true identity. She wanted to see how low they could go. Out of frustration, one officer smashed her motorcycle with a stick and shouted, "Pretending to be holy, we'll play with you, make you our doll." Now Barnali fully understood what they were after and how far they were willing to go. Rage blazed in Inspector Prasanjit's eyes. "I've seen plenty of smart women. Today you dared to challenge the police. Let's see how far you go. In the station, you'll be taught properly." Barnali remained silent. She didn't reveal who she really was. She wanted to witness the depth of their arrogance and lawlessness. The inspector grew more irritated. Before him stood a woman with a delicate cheek he had just slapped, her hair disheveled from being pulled, dragged along the street, yet she remained silent, like a statue. "No crying, no begging," he thought. "Once we get to the station, I'll deal with this stubborn one." When they entered the station, the inspector shouted, "Hey, where's the tea and water? Quickly bring it. We have a special guest today." Barnali was still silent. She examined the walls of the station, watching how the innocent were treated, how no one dared utter a word. A constable leaned toward Prasanjit and whispered, "Sir, what's really the matter?" The inspector replied carelessly, "Helmet. Speeding, who cares? Write whatever you like. The point is to humiliate her so she doesn't get too smart." Barnali heard every word, but her eyes remained calm, waiting for their own ugliness to spill out. The inspector sat down, twirling a pen in his fingers, then looked at Barnali and demanded, "Name, address, whose daughter are you?" Barnali was silent. "Didn't you hear me? Tell me your name." She still stood like a statue. Furious, he slammed the table with all his might. The sound echoed through the station. "Are you deaf? Tell me your name." Barnali slowly turned her face and replied, "Sumita Sharma." The inspector smirked. "Oh, clever. Used to lying, huh? Remember, lies will cost you dearly. One mistake, and you won't even have time to regret it." Barnali Singh was thrown into a filthy cell where 2 women were already detained. "Sister, why did they put you here?" one of them asked. Barnali just smiled faintly, said nothing, and silently observed how rotten this world had become. If even an SDO could be locked up without reason, one could only imagine what happened to ordinary people. She sat in the corner, watching every detail. The inspector quickly fabricated a false protocol. Charge her with theft and extortion. He slammed the file shut. "But sir, There's no evidence, a constable said in surprise. The inspector laughed. Here, evidence isn't brought. It's invented. Soon, a constable ran in and hit Barnali on the shoulder. Just as the inspector raised his hand to strike her again, a commanding voice thundered from the doorway. Stop! Everyone turned. At the door stood Senior Inspector Sanjay Varma. His reputation was slightly better than the others. He looked around, saw the girl's condition, and a frown appeared on his forehead. What's going on here? He demanded. Prasanjit smiled. Nothing, sir. Just a street woman getting ahead of herself. We're teaching her some sense. Sanjay studied Barnali carefully. Her composure was unlike that of an ordinary woman. What are the charges? He asked. Prasanjit's voice trembled. Sir, she was rude during the check. Sanjay grew suspicious. He turned to Barnali. What's your name? She remained silent. Prasanjit laughed. See, sir, she won't even say her name. Sanjay became more cautious. He ordered, isolate her in a single cell. I'll handle this personally. Barnali was placed in an even darker and dirtier cell, with a broken table and a rusted iron rod in the corner. She could now see the system up close, its filth and rot. Every moment reinforced the truth. Here, the law was nothing but empty paper. Suddenly a constable rushed in. Sir, a big car outside. What kind? Government, sir. Prasanjit hurried out, peeked inside the car, and his eyes widened in horror. He came back trembling. Sir, the commissioner. Faces turned pale. Senior Inspector Sanjay Varma tensed. This had reached the very top. The commissioner entered the station, anger blazing in his eyes. He looked straight at Prasanjit. Inspector Prasanjit, what circus is this? Nothing, sir, just a minor case, Prasanjit stammered. The commissioner picked up the file, read it carefully, frowned, and then glanced into the cell. Who is this woman? Sir, she's charged with fraud and deception. We have evidence, Prasanjit lied. What evidence? Now Prasanjit completely lost his courage. The commissioner directly asked the woman. What is your name? For the first time, Barnali smiled faintly. Barnali Singh. Silence filled the entire station. Faces turned white. Prasanjit's hands and legs trembled. Everyone stood stunned. The ground disappeared beneath him. The woman he thought was a criminal turned out to be the very officer who upheld the law across the district. She was none other than SDO Barnali Singh, the same woman they had dragged, beaten, and humiliated. Panic broke out in the station. Constables froze in fear. The commissioner turned sharply to the inspector. Prasanjit, how dare you forge charges against your superior officer? Before Prasanjit could respond, Senior Inspector Sanjay Varma shouted. Sir, I told you this case wasn't simple. Now Prasanjit stood alone. Barnali finally spoke firmly and openly. Prasanjit, you are dismissed immediately. I confirm your termination and the initiation of criminal proceedings against you. Prasanjit couldn't believe it. His breath caught. Other policemen turned away. Sanjay Varma shouted, on duty, take him into custody. But Prasanjit smirked and pulled out a folded paper. 1 minute, madam. First look at this, then do what you want. He held up the paper. The commissioner and Barnali read it. This is my transfer order. I was transferred 3 days ago. You can't dismiss me now. Silence. Barnali took the paper. The commissioner looked suspiciously at Sanjay. Check if it's genuine. Sanjay checked the records and confirmed. Sir, it's true. But the new inspector hasn't taken charge yet. Officially, he's still responsible, and all violations are on his head. Now nothing can save him. Barnali looked him in the eye. Now your new home will be the same place where you sent others. The commissioner nodded. 2 constables stepped forward, but Prasanjit played another card. I'm not alone. Do you really think only I'm guilty? All of them are my accomplices. Even higher officials are involved. Some officers turned pale. Sanjay Varma looked around carefully, realizing the depth of corruption. Barnali turned to the commissioner. This entire station must be cleaned out. No one leaves unpunished. The commissioner replied, as you order, madam. Now they will all answer one by one. The air in the station crackled like lightning. Outside, journalists had already gathered, sensing something big. As soon as they learned the entire station was being purged, the news spread like wildfire. Soon a shining car arrived. Out stepped the SP himself. Faces turned deathly pale. How long has this circus been going on? He demanded. The commissioner and post chief were silent. Barnali looked straight into his eyes. Do you think you'll escape so easily? Sanjay Varma handed Barnali a file, a full dossier of the SP's crimes. She held it before him. Here it is, the truth about all your dirty deeds. Sweat appeared on the SP's forehead. The commissioner shouted without hesitation. Arrest him. Arrest this scoundrel too. The entire station was in shock. For the first time, someone had openly challenged such a high-ranking officer. When the SP was arrested, a storm swept through the district. The issue reached Delhi itself. Even the chief minister was informed. A direct order came. Arrest every officer involved in the crimes. Within 2 days, over 40 policemen, more than 10 senior officers, and several politicians across the district were arrested. The atmosphere in Hashnabad changed completely. Everywhere, people spoke of only one thing: the honesty and courage of SDO Barnali Singh, who shook and shattered a rotten system. Power was infused with new energy and fresh thinking. And most importantly, it realized, now no one can escape justice. The case of Barnali Singh was closed. She had proven that if your intentions are truly pure, you can change even an entire nation. If you watched till the end, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay with us.